Good morning, folks. The real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 studio here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It is the 17th of February, President's Day. Only about 12 days left of meteorological winter. You'll want to stay on to the very end here. The little Angelina Kirk meets her superhero. And you know what they say, you usually don't want to meet your superhero, but we'll talk about how her experience was a little more favorable than mine was some years ago. Looking real quick here at world temperatures versus last year. This is how our big retail clients prefer to look at the weather year over year. And again, much colder across Alaska, northern Canada, and parts of the Middle East. And the map inset left there kind of matches those trends, temperatures versus average. Again, very cold in Alaska, Canada, and again, the Middle East and maybe extreme northeast Siberia. We'll talk about how this influences seasonal sales here in a second here. And we'll do that by looking at Valentine's Day, the Friday to Saturday time frame. Hope you had a good Valentine's Day, 14 through 15 February. 7.1 degrees colder than last year. This made it the third coldest Valentine Day in 35 years. So much below average, really cold in the Midwest, interior Northeast, and even the Mid-Atlantic. Map inset left there is versus a year ago. Again, so look at this chart here. Again, it was the, again, 7.1 degrees colder, and we'll quantify that, what that means for seasonal sales here. There's also the driest in 18 years with virtually no rainfall, 89% below average precipitation across the U.S., and snowfall was the least in 9 years and 95% below average. So kind of a cold, dry week, and that was actually good for some of our clients that sell seasonal merchandise. We call this the power of 1 degree. You've heard us talk about this, but how every 1 degree of change has an impact on seasonal sales. And so today we're going to pick on a category that tends to do very well around Valentine's Day, and that's hand and body lotion. So again, every 1 degree colder, there's about a 2% increase in hand and body lotion sales. And so again, since it was 7.1, we had about a 14.2% increase in sales here across the country, with the real favorability really being from the deep south, southwest, Texas, up into the northeast. So it should have been a very strong week for some of our clients that sell these hand and body lotions. The other category that's doing well this year is obviously the flu. We had a type B early spike in December, and then it was plummeting, and then now we're getting type A, the late surge. So this is way above last year, 2019's that blue line, red's where we are today. So it's more similar to 2018, maybe not quite as bad as that year. Hopefully we're just on the cusp of a collapse here, as typically is the case. As the weather starts to warm up, we see this the collapse. But again, 48 states have widespread flu, so if you're feeling under the weather, join the club. Looking at snowfall here this winter. Now this is just meteorological winter, 1 December through yesterday, 17 Feb. Again, pretty anemic, 17% below average, 14% less than last year, and least than 8 years. So really a big downward trend here in snowfall. Looking at this, if we started the seasonal snowfall back on 1 September through 17 Feb, we'd see that, again, still trending about 3% below average and 8% less than last year. So kind of in the middle of the pack here, but again, just a tad below average nationally, and again, less than last year. Looking at snow cover here this morning, about 33% of us have snow on the ground. Again, average is about 38%, so it's the 5th least in 17 years for snow cover. This week here, overall, 17 through 23 February is about 4.5 degrees warmer than last year is the expectation. Makes it 14th coldest in 35 years, so kind of average in the middle of the pack. A little misleading here because we're getting pulses of pretty mild weather and then pretty cold weather behind it, but again, a very fast-moving pattern. So you get a couple days of this, just like Valentine's, and then it was, in some parts of the tri-state area, got up to 50 degrees after a really cold morning on Valentine's Day. Nationally, this week would be the driest in 4 years, 15th driest in 35 years, so below average national rainfall, and snowfall is again anemic, 75% less than last year, and much below average. The stormy spot's going to be from Texas to South Carolina here this week. Not much snow to talk about, so we'll go through these pretty quickly here, but here's a snowfall here through today, into Tuesday, going into New England. New England's done very well this year in terms of snowfall, upstate New York and New England and Maine. But not so from the anemic Washington, D.C. to Boston, way below average along the coastal Northeast in terms of snowfall, and that'll be the case again, unfortunately, this week, again, for snow lovers. We're just running out of time here. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, again, just not a lot of snow out there this week to talk about. Looking at next week, 24 February through 1 March, again, hard to believe we're getting already into March, but 7.3 degrees warmer than last year, 8th warmest in 35 years, above average nationally. Map inset left there is versus a year ago. So again, very warm across the Central Plains and Midwest, interior Northeast. Rainfall, what is in 2 years, much above average. Snowfall may see an uptick here. We'll see. Maybe a Midwest system to contend with. So 8% more than last year and above average. But the stormy spot in terms of severe weather, probably in that Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina areas. We'll have to watch because 'tis the season for severe thunderstorms and tornadoes to start to ramp up. I said earlier, you never want to meet your superhero, and after waiting to meet him for 30 years, I always joke that I am the real Captain Kirk, U.S. Air Force veteran, and my wife and I met Shatner. We call him that imposter on TV. A little disappointing when we met him. So we took the little Angelina Kirk to meet her superhero, and if you don't have a 4-year-old, you don't have no clue who Blippi is, but certainly her superhero, and she was not disappointed. She was actually very excited. So I will let you watch her happy dance here as she watches her superhero yesterday in New Jersey. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week.